him on here due to his busy schedule. Dr. Brett McCabe is going to talk to us today a little bit about the difference between reality and potential. And oftentimes that difference is very confusing, very difficult for golfers, and it can be sucky. So your title of your presentation, Breaking Free of Suckville.
Thank you. All right, thank you so much. It's always great to come back and speak for TPI and being here at the PGA show. This is a talk that I want you guys to not only think about your golfers you're working with and the people you train, but also to take it in for yourself. And to actually put yourself in the student and in the learner's mode. And the reason is, I want you to think about a couple statistics first and foremost. 71% of people that are in our workforce are actively looking for other jobs.
71% of our American workforce is actively looking for another job. 75% of our Americans are unsatisfied with their lives. They're unhappy. They're tired. They're worn out. And if you're standing in here and you're walking around and you're trying to figure out a way to improve your game, your teaching, you're falling a little bit into that trap. So when we take a look at our adolescents and our teenagers, a recent report was done where they studied the happiness, the well-being, the satisfaction of our youth. And they're growing up, because if they're happy when they're young and they grow up, they're more than likely to be happy. But if they grow up young and a little dissatisfied, those are patterns of behavior and thought that repeats itself. And unfortunately, we're watching a significant drop in the happiness and the emotional well-being of our adolescents and teenagers. And there's a lot of thoughts as to why. Now, I want you guys to think about your youth time. When you were younger, we'd go outside in our backyards and we would play. We didn't think about crazy things like kidnapping, being abducted. We'd go out and ride our bikes and we'd hear our mom and dad's whistle and we'd come back in. And what was the ultimate dinner bell? The street lights turning on, right? Those of you who are that age. But our kids today have some amazing resources ahead of them. They have phones and smartphones that are more powerful than the computers that landed the first men on the moon. And they are so connected in every form and fashion. If they want to connect to one of their favorite superstars, all they have to do is send a DM, to tag them in a picture, to engage in a conversation, and somebody in Topeka, Kansas can connect to somebody in Los Angeles. And while we think connectivity is brilliant, it comes at a cost. And that cost is social comparison. So I started thinking about this unhappiness approach, this ideal. Golfers come to me all the time, and they sit in my office and they say, "Doc, I want to get better." And I'm like, "Well, tell me about what you're doing. Tell me about what you want." And they said, "Man, it's just not good right now. I'm unhappy. And my favorite time of the year just left," right? New Year's resolutions. You got, it's already January 24th. 90% of resolutions are gone, okay? We went to dinner last night as a team and we're all trying to eat right. They sat down and they said, "Hey, $10 hamburgers and unlimited fries." We were 5 for 6, or 6 out of the 7 of us got cheeseburgers last night, okay? $10, unlimited fries, I'm in, right? So things leave. And you ask people, what do they want to change? What do you want to do different in 2019? And what do is they start laying out everything that they think they were bad at the year before, and they want to fix it. Nobody ever comes into my office and says, "Hey, Doc, I just won the last 3 regional championships. I feel like I need mental training." No, they come to me and they go, "Oh my God, I am tired of playing like this. I'm tired of having this in my life, and I want to change." And when you listen to them, they go, I know you've never heard this before, and I'm probably the only guy out there that feels this way, or the only girl, but I have doubts. All right? I got some fears. All right? Like, people really believe that that's unique to them. So what's happening is we have conditioned our minds. We've conditioned who we are to be unhappy. Think about that. If I walked up to you right now and I said, how was your day yesterday? You'd go, it was good. And if I kept asking, you'd say, man, my legs are killing me by the end. I mean, I saw some good stuff, but you know this. And our minds just naturally go to the negative. Like it's default. Like right now, it's pouring down rain and thunderstorming outside. But how many of you walked outside and went, no, it's raining, I can't handle this. Instead you went, hey, is there a covered walkway that I can get over it? Like we can handle the weather, but for some reason, the mix between our good and our bad in our lives, we struggle with. So I sat back and I started thinking, like a performance psychologist, a clinical psychologist that I am, I work on and I help people try to reach their greatness. And I started thinking, I was like, man, everybody comes here stuck in suck. Think about it. You walk around, if you go on Yelp, it's so much easier to write a bad review than to write, man, I had the best meal I've ever had here. But if it's a bad meal, I want to tell you everything about it. Well, I walked into the restaurant and there was a little something sticky on the floor and I felt like my food came out and it was a little lukewarm. Like we're so conditioned to see the negative. What impact does that have on our performance? When we're so conditioned to see the negative, instead of seeing the good, we see the frustrating. Instead of seeing the opportunities, we see the roadblocks. And one of the things that this generation is brilliant at doing, this generation that's coming up, now, I am a huge fan of Gary Vaynerchuk, Gary V. He's not safe for your speakers at work because there's a few F-bombs he drops on occasion. I'm not going to go that route. But I went to a conference that he did with Tony Robbins and Robert Herjavec and Gary, and they did this topic, and he walks out and he goes, man, millennials, whoo, they're tough, right? Y'all raised them. And it was like, he's right. We've raised an entire generation to think that perfect is the ideal. If we go back, I just got done watching Band of Brothers on HBO. How many of y'all seen that? Brilliant. They lived in suck on a regular basis. And yet they complained, but they still did. But what we are stuck with is if I go on social media and if I go on Instagram and I look at the ideal, I see a golf swing that may have been filmed 10 times, but it's been pared down to be the one really good one. That all of a sudden becomes the ideal. So this stuck in suck is our standard. We live in Suckville. Think about it. Here's a challenge for you. I want you to go around today, and when you walk by somebody and say, hey, I'm so-and-so, I want to meet, how's your day gone? Just don't prompt them. Look at how fast they end up in suck. It's amazing. We're so conditioned to doing that. So, how many of you have heard this if you work with golfers? How did you play? I mean, it was okay. What did you shoot? Well, I mean, I was 5 or 6 over. I mean, it could have been really good, but why do I always struggle in this scenario? Like, they didn't tell you about the ball that hit the tree that bounced out in the fairway, did they? Never. What they told you was, I hit this great putt, it lipped out. If it had gone in, I would have shot a lower score. But they're so conditioned to see the bad. So we get stuck in Suckville. And Suckville is this amazing vacuum. And Suckville really is the space between our reality and our believed potential. We all have in our mind this belief of where we think we should be. And everybody is unhappy about where they currently are. And if you're not unhappy where you are, you will search to find it. You'll say, well, I mean, I wish I had more hair. I wish I had a better car. I wish I had a better this or a better that. We are so conditioned to see the things that we don't have. And I love our equipment manufacturers. But every equipment manufacturer comes out with a new driver. The king of speed, get 8 extra yards. The king of this, hit the more fairways. Like they're speaking to your suck. And they're knowing how to play with it and to detail it, to work it, to make it theirs, okay? Now they're not doing anything wrong. In fact, you're walking around with a sign up that says, I'm in Suckville. But what happens is every day we ignore our reality and we downplay it. Like our reality is simply not good enough. Like, wouldn't it be great if somebody came out and said, I mean, it was a decent day. It was like my average. Well, is that good? Yeah, it's my average. My average is my average for a reason. And I'm working to get better every day. I would love it if somebody came back and said that. On the PGA Tour, they enter somewhere between 120 and 150 players a week. One winner. That's less than 1% of the field will win. But that's the ideal. So what happens is when we start immersing ourselves in our reality and finding discomfort and unhappiness with it, we start recruiting people around us that feed into that negative energy. Think about it. We never have positive workflow groups. We have negative workflow groups. Like, in other words, we're going to fix problems. The government never says we're going to put a committee together to talk about happiness. They say we're going to put a committee together to fix the problems. And yet we live in a world today where we have more connectivity, more interaction, speed of computing is at an all-time fast. We can trade across multiple nationals. We can watch certain people play on a golf course 100 million miles away and get it almost real time, right? They were playing last night in Dubai. We're going to watch them play today in San Diego, and they're making millions of dollars, and we're all beneficial of that industry. And yet, we still naturally default to Suckville. Now, one of the biggest reasons we get stuck in Suckville is comparison. The human mind, I believe, has three major drivers. The drive for accomplishment, the drive for social acceptance, and the drive for stability. Let me describe the three. We all are humans, and we're all working to accomplish something. If we look back at our natural brain state, the primitive brain that we have, the brain has two major purposes: the need to stay alive and the need for our genes to move in the next generation. Everything we do from our brain standpoint can boil down to survival or procreation, okay? So that's achievement. We eat to stay alive so that our genes can go in the next generation. That's primitive. It's been around for millions of years. That's why we're here. Somebody in your ancestry fought to stay alive in order for your genes to move in the next generation. So our natural brain state is to see negative, okay? So if I'm sitting here right now and all of a sudden we hear this massive boom behind us, I'm not going to think, man, that's a $1 billion money truck behind me. I'm going to think, oh my God, something's coming from behind. Because my brain's job is to stay alive. And it sends thoughts out into my consciousness on a regular basis. Okay? It sends thoughts. Well, when it finds an emotional reaction, that thought goes, got it. That's a risk. So like right now, if I'm speaking and I see somebody do this in the audience, my natural thought is, oh my God, I'm not doing good enough. I got to speak better, louder, try to bring in more people, right? Make you feel uncomfortable. I'm just joking. Okay, the reality is thoughts are going on so fast, and when we hit a discomfort, it sends a thought. And it sends more thoughts. And once we know we're in struggle, it starts sending more and more. Now, to override that, we have to lock into what we truly want. 2.5 years ago, I wrote the Mindside Manifesto. And it was about an idea that you have to be so locked into what you want that everything else drowns out around you. But most of us don't live with what we truly want. That's why we're stuck in Suckville. We go around with ambiguity as the acceptance. The average is like, it's all right, it's norm. But greatness comes from what we want. So we go for the absolute accomplishment, and we're driven to succeed. Our brains, the way that we work, our reward system loves for us to achieve things. We love that feeling to be recognized for success, even a great job. Like coaches, if you coach somebody, you don't have to print out ribbons. All you have to do is say, I saw it, great job. And there's a neurophysiological response that happens in your brain that tickles your reward centers. Now those are awesome. That makes us feel great, okay? But you have to work to get them. But the brain doesn't naturally accept continuous success, because once we've succeeded, I got to do it again and again and again, because one time isn't simply enough. Because if I was really good, I'd do it 3, 4, and 5 times. But we have to tap into this idea of what we want. Well, before I talk about social acceptance, our brains, our minds also want stability. We want predictability. We want structure. Why do you think that there's a board up right here that has 25 speakers at scheduled times so you can predictably know where to go? If somebody walked out here and put a stanchion up and started talking, it would draw a crowd. But where's the next one? Who's the next one going to do it? That stability would frustrate us. So we want predictability. We want stability. All right. But the second one, which is the most important in what we're talking about today, is we want social acceptance. We want social validation. We want people to tell us how great we've done. We want people that we value to let us know we've done a wonderful job and they noticed. Well, just like cliques in high school and middle school, once we feel comfortable in one clique, we move on to the next one. Once we feel comfortable here, we define the new social network we want to become a part of. And you wonder that and you say, really, is that true? Social media is the greatest social experiment ever. People go on, they get in little groups, they feel comfortable, they like each other's posts, they comment, and then all of a sudden they start moving into, well, I like that group and I'm gonna move into that group a little bit. And you start interacting with those people. This young generation is brilliant at it. But the problem is, underneath what's feeding us is insecurity. And when I see somebody doing something great, when I see somebody else that's doing something brilliant, what happens is I really like it. But I like it from an envious standpoint, jealousy, just a little bit. Like, man, that's really good. I like that. I like that a lot. And when we latch onto it, the reason we like it is it matches our insecurity in that area. Kids don't realize that. So when they come in and they're like, Bob or Mary, she hits the ball so hard, so far, the natural thing is to go, well, so do you. And they're like, no, I don't. Instead of saying that, what do you like about their game? What did you see that you like in what they do? And in that is the pathway to breaking free from Suckville. Because they're telling you their pathway. All right, so who's in Suckville? Well, you got 5 different groups of people who want to keep you in Suckville. And any of you that have built a business or built your dream, you're recognizing these people. The first people in Suckville are the jealous. I mean, I didn't have the opportunities you have. I mean, you should take advantage of that, right? Like, they're happier that you're staying in Suckville than breaking away from them. Okay? So they're jealous of any success you have. And I try to let my players know that when they're in reality, that those types of jealous people are keeping them there to see that what they're doing isn't good enough. They're jealous of your success. They're jealous of your progress, okay? But the jealous aren't the biggest problem. The naysayers are a big problem. The naysayers are those people who, when they see you succeed, I mean, you shouldn't do that. Why would you want to do that? Why would you want to go play at a new tournament? Why would you want to go to the PGA show and sit right here and learn? Like, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't waste my time. And the reason is their own insecurities about what they're doing are telling you not to do what they won't do. They wouldn't do it, so why would you? Okay? But the naysayers are neighbors of the downtrodden. I've tried all that and it's never worked. How many of you have heard that? I mean, I've tried that, it won't work. Yeah. Like, my favorite is, why are they going to put another restaurant in that building? 4 restaurants have already failed. But they put a new restaurant in with better leadership, better ownership, and all of a sudden, boom, it succeeds. And those people go, well, I didn't have the luck. I have a friend of mine that owns a car dealership. And he changed the entire way a car dealership works. He got rid of commission car sales. He pays them flat salaries, gives them bonuses by what they sell. He owns a Toyota dealership. He doesn't care if he sells you a Toyota Tundra or a Tercel or a Corolla. He doesn't care. He just wants you to get the car you want. He got rid of haggling. He got rid of all that. He's the number one sales company, the number one dealership in the Southeast. And when he goes to Toyota National and gives talks, Google and Facebook bring him out to work with them. He goes and speaks on the stage. What he hears, I mean, he's just got a great location. He's like, I bought a failing car dealership that was going out of business in the same location and the same circumstances. But your inability to change and feeling beaten down is why you're stuck in Suckville, okay? The others, it's too much work. You hear that one all the time. It's gonna take too much work to succeed. Earlier on my podcast, I had James Seekman, National Teacher of the Year. James and I worked together on PGA Tour players. And we were talking and I said, what was it like when you broke away and created your own teaching philosophy? He said, well, I didn't do what everyone else did. He said, I looked at the way people moved the putter and the wedge and thought there's gotta be a better way because the greats aren't doing it that way. But he said, everybody told me it's too much work to create your own way. Just do it the way we've always done it. And I'm sitting there thinking, here's National Teacher of the Year. Now he looks like a genius, when reality was, like he said, he was a pariah. He was an outcast because he worked hard, okay? And then the last group we have are the doubters. I don't think you can actually be successful. I mean, I couldn't, why would you, right? So when we look at the people that we have in our lives, we're constantly stuck between our reality and our potential. All right, you ready for this? This is a positive statement for you guys. You'll never hit your potential. Never. Let me say that again. I don't mean to break it to you. You will never hit your potential. You will always fail at reaching your potential. You guys are failures. It's true. The reason is, every time you succeed, you redefine your potential. Every time you succeed, you move the bar. Nobody has ever, I've had two players who have broken 59 in competition. Bobby White, when he was a junior, shot 57. Stephen Yeager was the first professional golfer in a PGA sanctioned event to break 59. He did it a week or two before Jim Furyk. Stephen Yeager did it on the web.com. He shot 58. And I said, Stephen, were you phenomenal on that day? He's like, no, I missed a couple shots, I just made up for it. That's remarkable. In the last year, I want to say, I think we have it on a thing back there. We've had 11 worldwide victories between the PGA Tour, the web.com, and the European Tour. 11. Not one of those players has had their great. What they've had is their ability to accept their reality is not Suckville, but an opportunity. So what I want players, I want you guys to understand, is Suckville's just a state of mind. That's all it is. It's a conditioned learning process to look around and realize that we have good and bad, but we don't have things that prevent us from trying. There's always good and bad in our reality. Like last week when I was out at Palm Desert, I went to In-N-Out Burger. Pretty good place, right? Not a fan of their fries. Their burger rocks, their fries, okay? And I keep sitting there thinking, it's like, man, if they only had great fries. But the reality is, In-N-Out Burger is not called In-N-Out French fries. It's called In-N-Out Burger, okay? They're known for what they do, okay? We can walk around and be unhappy with everything we have. Or we can start looking at the opportunities we have in our lives. All right, coaches, how many of you demand 100% from your people who come and work with you? Hands up. Okay? Are you guys giving 100% to them every single day? If we're going to ask 100% from our students, are you giving 100% to them every day? The things that get us stuck and prevent us from succeeding are those same things that our players are struggling with. They're struggling with the same things. They go to the golf course or they come in to work out with you guys. They have 2 tests tomorrow. They're stressed, they're worried. Their mom is on them. They're having a relationship issue. They're tired. They're worn out. Their stomach hurts. And what happens is all those noises of their reality bother them, worries them, tells them something's wrong. The way the mind works says we have a problem. And we become super aware of why we're in Suckville. Look, I want to break you free of Suckville. You ready? I'm going to give you a plan. Number 1, what do you want? What do each and every one of you want? Now, if you want a plan to get that, you can buy my book, The Mindside Manifesto. But it's a simple question. It's called Red Wine Therapy. On the front page of an 8.5 by 11 white piece of paper, I want you to write, I want at the top. Pour yourself a glass of red wine. If you don't drink alcohol, pour yourself a cup of coffee. Go sit down in a coffee shop and start writing what you want. Why is it so hard for players to say, I want to win a tournament? We've told players for the last couple of years, oh, don't mention winning. No, just trust the process. I work for the Alabama Athletic Department. We very famously say, trust the process. I played for LSU baseball program. We had trust the system. My coach won 5 national titles in 10 years. Coach Saban has won 5 national titles in 9 years. Let me give you a little secret. That trust the system, trust the process is to beat you endlessly. It's not about trusting the process. It's about building a process and everybody committing to the process and investing all that you can do into the process to whip you to the end of days. It's not just to walk out and go, hey, we lost. Like Alabama did not leave the national championship game and said, hey, we didn't win, but we trusted the process. They didn't do that. They built a process for greatness, and they believe that if they trust their process and they don't chase every little random opportunity, they will win 99% of the time. What do you want? It's okay to say, I just want mediocrity. In fact, Monster.com years ago ran an ad during the Super Bowl. And it had this kid on the front and said, I yearn to be a middle manager. I want to be the last guy in my sales team. I like sucking. Okay? I like that. I'd love it for a player to come to me and say, you know what? I want to be the 6th person on my college golf team. So you like to be the bus at the park when the bus leaves for the college golf tournament? You're the one behind to turn off the lights. You'd like that. Oh yeah, I'd love that. That's easy to work with, right? I just got to get them one step worse than everybody else. But nobody's willing to say that. But I hate it when somebody goes, I just want to make the travel squad. I'm like, do you just want to make the travel squad? Or do you want to be the best player on the team? Be honest with what you want. Because if you can't be honest with what you want, you'll never build a plan to achieve what you want. Go into a restaurant tonight where we have professional servers all over Orlando and go, I don't know what I want. And they come back and they go, what would you like? I don't know what I want. And they're going to go, okay, well, would you like chicken, fish, burger? I don't know what I want. I just want something that's good. Okay. Then they're going to come back again and they're going to go, all right, Justin, what do you want? And you go, I don't know what I want. I just don't know. But I'm going to sit here and just kind of be around, and if you see anything, just give me whatever scraps I deserve. They're going to look at you and go, look, we have a policy. You can't sit here without ordering. That's what life is. See, people who know what they want are on a mission. Everybody else is just the crowd. How many people are you going to be on for the mission? If you're on the mission, I want my youth athletes to say, I want this. Are you willing to do what it takes to achieve it? Number 2, you better be prepared for the struggle. My airline pilots can fly in the weather that was this morning in Orlando. That makes me excited. I don't want to get on the plane tomorrow. I got to fly to San Francisco. And I don't want to get on the plane and the pilot walking around and going, yeah, I don't know. Not a good day. Had a little fight with my wife. Boss is on me because I missed a couple landings. And that. I don't want that. I want a pilot that walks around and goes, hey, thank you, I've got 25 years here with Delta and he's got 26 years. Combined, we have 51 years with Delta. You're gonna have a great flight. We're gonna do all of our best to make you the most important person here today. That's what I want. Right now, AT&T is running a commercial about a family waiting to go into surgery. They're like, do you like Dr. Smith? He's okay. Doctor walks in and goes, I just kind of got out of trouble. That's how we live our lives. Like, come up and say, my wife and I, amazing wife, Missy is my business partner in the back at the Mindside booth, okay? I'll get in trouble for that later, but that's a whole nother thing. Okay, we walked here 5 years ago, 7 years ago, walked through this building, didn't know a soul, did not know a single person here, did not know. We'd walk up to booths and they go, oh, okay. I had a college coach that said, who are you? And I said, I'm so-and-so and I work with players. Who do you work with? I said, Coach, I don't really list who I work with. I work with 11 PGA Tour players, okay? A lot of wins, a lot of money. You don't see them on this list back here, okay? And I said, Coach, I don't really do it. He goes, oh, I know how you are. You want me to believe you work with a lot of people? You don't work with anybody. That was the first interaction I had in the PGA show, okay? When I come here, you gotta be prepared for the struggle, right? Right now we're offering, I'm gonna do a sales pitch here for a bit. We've got these little bands, they're really cool. What I did is I put together the 5 ways that people struggle on the golf course called the landmines. $29, got a special few. It's a great gift to give your players. If you want to know how to struggle, we took them out on the golf course. We took them through the ins and the outs. I played really good that day, by the way. And I'm gonna show you how to help them manage it. We've got them in the back booth, check them out, okay? But I've got a giveaway for you guys here in a minute that's completely free, okay? So you got to be fully locked in to the struggle. I want people that can handle the bad better they can handle the good. If you've got parents that you coach, don't avoid parents. Embrace them, engage them. Hey, you're whatever. Don't be like, oh my God, it's another parent. Instead, man, I'm gonna make your day. I'm gonna help you be the best parent you can be. Hey, I'm gonna give you a tip. If your kid sucks at the next tournament, don't leave. Don't leave. You can't get in the car and call me as a coach 30 minutes after putting out on 18. See, if they know the landmines of the golf course, they know how to manage it. It's a great gift for your junior golfers. Okay, now, the important thing is if they struggle, make them eat lunch at the facility. Make them order a sandwich. They can't run to a golf range. They can't call for a lesson. They can't Skype you in. They have to sit in their mediocrity. Now that's not punishment. You know what that is? Hey, man, you played great today. And you asked me, he goes, man, what happened? You know what, I had a bad day. Bad days happen, but I'm gonna come back at it tomorrow. You can teach a kid to respond that way, they break free of Suckville. I'm not punishing to make them sit there, I'm teaching them. I want them to handle mediocrity and brutal nature of this world better. See, there are 3 or 4 major tenets I want everyone to understand. Life's not fair, never has been, never will be. There are certain people who have better opportunities, and there are certain people that better take advantage of the opportunities they have than other people. Life's not fair. 2, hard workers don't always succeed. I can tell you time after time, I've got people that are hard workers that still suck. Okay? Number 3, lazy people don't always fail. I know a lot of lazy teammates of mine that win. Okay? And the 4th one is on team sports, coaches play favorites. It's just called people they can trust. Now, how they develop that trust, that's up to them. Okay, so you got to know who you are. In the heat of the moment, in any decision, what type of person are you? Are you somebody that needs to have increased attention and stress, like I got to amp you up? Or are you the tactician? Or are you a warrior? Or do you like to get in your own little bubble? As one of my players texted me last night before he tees off, he goes, bubble is strong, we're locked and loaded and ready to go. He's won $4 million in less than 6 months. We got him in his bubble, he knows who he is. He breaks that bubble, he struggles, he gets locked in, he wins. Okay? And the last one is what we call the chosen one. That's the Tim Tebow-esque. Now, here's the free giveaway. Everybody get out your phones. If you have an American-based phone number, if you don't have an American-based phone number, you got to come to our booth and I'll get it for you. In the new text, in the text number, I want you to put in this number, 66866. Okay, it's 5 numbers. The number is 66866. I want you to write the word mind, M-I-N-D, mind, like my company, the Mind Side, mind. Press send. It's going to bounce back. It's going to ask for an email address. You're going to get a free ebook. It's about 20 pages with great graphics about the 5 personality types to help you perform when it's on fire. Free, no hook. Okay? All right, finally. You got to stay focused on your North Star. What do you want? Where are you going? Like, is it wrong to be in a situation to say, I want that? Like, I see myself there. Like, this past week, I have interviewed for my podcast 15 people, 20 people that are great coaches and teachers. Every one of them got there because they wanted to be there, not because of the status. They wanted to be there because of the learning and the opportunity to be great. Their North Star is get better every single day and do what it takes to surround yourself with great people. Look, Suckville's a state of mind, and it's amazing. I had a player call me. This kid is a great kid. He's a college player, and for 3 years he has not been able to crack the lineup. And everybody walks around and is like, dude, I don't understand it. Your talent is off the chart. And he calls, we start talking, he goes, Doc, I am the mayor of Suckville. Everything I see every day, I suck. I said, buddy, we're going to change that. We're going to get you to believe, and when you hit a bad shot, you have a plan to deal with it. What can I do to make today the best? It may be a 70 out of 100, but I'm not going to focus on the 30% that sucked. I'm going to focus on the 70% today that was amazing. That's not about being positive. That's about being realistic, and that's about being opportunistic. Look, it's great being here. I love speaking for TPI. I'll do it every single year that they'll have me until Lance kicks me off the stage. It is an honor to be here. Break free of your own Suckville. Let's get rid of being the mayors of Suckville, and let's be the greatest people to create our own success possible. It's available to you guys. Every single one of you can create your own greatness, but you got to lock into what you do, not what everyone else is doing. And by doing that, you'll be fantastic. Thank you, Lance.